News 3 starts right now.
We'll do that.
A massive earthquake rocked parts of Southern California this morning. Residents there and even people right here in Las Vegas also felt that impact. This cell phone video captured some of it in Los Angeles. The 6.4 earthquake hit near Ridgecrest, northeast of Bakersfield.
All right, so that earthquake was preceded by a 4.24 shock, and there have been more than 100 aftershocks. It's being called the largest earthquake recorded in that area in 20 years, and that's where we begin on the 4th of July. Good evening, I'm Reed Cowan.
And I'm Latoya Silman. Many here at home, as we said, felt the effects of that morning quake. Some visitors took this video at the Venetian earlier today, and we have plenty more from our local coverage in a moment. But first, we want to start off with our team coverage tonight with Emily Irwin from our Sinclair sister station out of Bakersfield.
A bit of a change in 4th of July plans here for people in the city of Ridgecrest. At about 10 this morning, a 6.4 earthquake struck about 25 miles east of here in Searles Valley. Now, that's only a 30-minute drive, so people here in Ridgecrest felt the brunt of this earthquake. And we're told by the mayor that this was followed by about 80-plus aftershocks. So the rolling and the earthquake went on for a little while. We spoke to a family here in town who lost dishes. They lost electronic equipment. They even lost some precious wedding gifts. But all in all, they're happy that, the earthquake wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be, and their family was doing okay. Kern County Fire said that there were 24 calls right after the earthquake for structural fires, for structural damage, for medical assistance. There were 15 people from the hospital nearby at Ridgecrest Medical that had to be evacuated to the Lancaster Palmdale area. 4 of those people were actually medevaced out of the hospital. So we're going to stay in touch. We're going to stay in touch with the mayor, with Kern County Fire, with all of the agencies that are putting in the work here. I'm going to send it back to you in the studio for now.
All right, thanks so much. From Bakersfield, News 3's Max Darrow continues our local team coverage and joins us live from downtown Las Vegas. Max?
Even though the earthquake was about 120 miles west of Las Vegas, people here in our valley say they thought it was a lot closer than that. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake centered near Ridgecrest, California, rippled all the way to Las Vegas, rocking the valley.
We jumped up in panic and we ran down the stairs. We ran into other people that felt it too.
It was like 20 seconds of chaos and then it was fine.
Kids immediately went under the table because that's what they've been taught.
Local Kenya Frazier is well aware that earthquakes happen in and around southern Nevada, but she says this one was different.
Born and raised here in Vegas, and that was the first time that I've ever felt it that strong. It was more of a rolling, like when I looked up, the fans and stuff weren't shaking. The whole house was moving in one.
Others, too, say it was a roller, not an abrupt shaker. Renowned Southern California seismologist Lucy Jones explained why proximity to the epicenter or fault lines can play a role in explaining the sensation that people will experience.
How strong the feeling is depends on how far away you are. If you feel it as a rolling motion, you know it's pretty far away.
Las Vegas is about 120 miles west of where this earthquake hit. Jones says aftershocks will continue to follow, and there is potential, though slight, for another big one.
There is about a 1 in 20 chance that this location will be having an even bigger earthquake within the next few days, that we have not yet seen the biggest earthquake of the sequence.
So far, no reports of any damage here in our neck of the woods. Reporting live in downtown Las Vegas tonight, Max Darrow, News 3.
No damage, a lot of people talking though. News 3 is your weather authority. Also, Kevin Janison continues our earthquake coverage tonight, and he's joining us now and to talk about this. It's pretty crazy out there.
Yeah, a lot of people cannot stop talking about what they were doing and where they were when they felt it, Kevin.
Sitting at the computer, and I felt that rolling motion for a good 15, 20 seconds earlier this morning. Great map here showing you the 120-mile gap between Las Vegas and the epicenter, and how unnerving. There were 2 earthquakes around 10 a.m. One was 2.5, one was about 4.0, then nothing. 30 minutes later, that's when the big one, 6.4, hit. And since that time, according to the USGS, we've had over 100 aftershocks. These are not yellow blobs. Each one is a separate shake. And all of these are at least 2.5. 5 of them have registered to at least 4.5. Think about what's happening here. We've got these cracks, these faults in the earth that go down several miles, in this case 2.5 to 5 miles deep. You've got chunks of earth pressing against each other for years, builds up pressure. They finally give way. That's the shaking we feel, and then they sort of land in a position that's not quite restful, so then they'll shake again and again and again, and those are all the aftershocks we're getting. And these could actually continue not only through the night tonight, but probably through Sunday and more, maybe even a week the way things are looking. We'll take a look at the weather forecast, which includes the winds for the fireworks tonight in just a few minutes. Reed and Latoya.
From the grounds to the skies, you've got it covered. That is Weather Authority. Joining us now by phone, Dr. Graham Kent. He's the director of the Nevada Seismological Laboratory. He's also a professor at the University of Nevada.
That's right. And Dr. Kent, a lot of people are now wondering, okay, what does this mean for our area? Should we be concerned now that we've felt this quake?
Yeah, I think in the immediate aftermath of this earthquake, again, that's about 100 miles away, I think there's not that big worry. I think what people in Las Vegas need to worry more about is the fact that the basin that everything's built on is really like a bowl of Jell-O, not dissimilar to that underneath Mexico City. And so if there happens to be a larger earthquake in the mid-magnitude 7 along the Death Valley fault sequence, that in itself could cause a lot of damage in Las Vegas. So this might be kind of a little bit of a primer what's going to happen in the future. Of course, we don't know that date, but again, we can have very damaging earthquakes that are 100 miles away from Vegas and yet cause a lot of significant damage from, again, probably about a magnitude 7.5 earthquake in Death Valley.
You know, I'd imagine our viewers heard what we just aired from the USGS. A woman said we could see more significant shakers in the next few days. What do you think about that this might not have been the end of it?
Yeah, you know, what's interesting is that if you look at the history of earthquakes in western Nevada, eastern California, sometimes, depending on how you do the numbers, but it's about 1 in 5, 1 in 4 end up having a larger earthquake, let's say within a few days to a few months. And so one of the things that we have to worry about, again, is that it kind of just, hits another fault line and triggers it, and there we go. We have another large earthquake or potentially larger. So, again, we have to worry about that. But I think right now for Las Vegas residents and people in the area, just definitely learn to drop cover and hold on. Those kids are right, and the adults that ran outside were wrong.
All right, out of the mouth of babes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kent, for the latest on that and that insight. Of course, we will continue to follow the Southern California earthquake through the night on air and online. Be sure to follow us on news3lv.com.
Well, we could see a different kind of fireworks soon at the Clark County School Board. It will meet next week to discuss, excuse me, earthquakes get me all shook up in my throat, I guess. They're going to discuss the superintendent's decision to eliminate the dean's positions in middle and high schools. And now a district court judge is weighing in. News 3's Steve Wolford is live at the school board headquarters to explain where this is all going.
Well, a temporary restraining order is now in place that's tied to Superintendent Jara's decision to eliminate the dean positions. That request came from the Clark County Association of School Administrators. They say the deans, they represent the deans, and they say the decision to eliminate that position should have been talked about in a public hearing, but they claim that didn't happen.
The TRO is forcing the district to actually bring this to an open meeting. The judge basically made a ruling that she had enough evidence to show that the school board had violated the open meeting statutes.
Dave Wilson, president of the Clark County Association of School Administrators, says the temporary restraining order signed by District Court Judge Nancy Alf also does a few other things. It stops the district from enforcing its decision to eliminate the dean's positions and seeks to determine the scope of Superintendent Jara's authority as it relates to eliminating those jobs. In a previous interview with News 3, Superintendent Jara said he had to cut the dean positions to cover a $17 million budget gap needed to give teachers the pay hikes they were promised.
And I understand, sympathetic, but really look at as a superintendent, 360 schools and 42,000 employees, we have to do what's best.
But the CCASA says eliminating an administrative position responsible for student safety is a decision that needs to be made in public, and the school board should vote on it.
The reality is it only takes 4 votes to overturn this. We fully believe that there may be a different outcome. In conversations with school board members, they're not happy with the decision to remove the dean of students position, nor to remove that funding, nor for the way that deans have been treated throughout this process.
Wilson told me he believes there are other ways to cover the dean's position in the school board budget. It deserves to be talked about, and he says this issue is on the agenda next Thursday night for the school board. Reporting live from school district headquarters, Steve Wolford, News 3, back to you.
All right, thanks, Steve. As many as 40,000 people lined the streets to watch this year's 25th annual Summerlin Council Patriotic Parade this morning. More than 19 floats were a part of today's celebration as well. Some of the favorites included an Aladdin theme, Mary Poppins, and a Vegas Golden Knights float. Well, here's a look at some of the photos that we've compiled today from today's festivities. A lot of people showing their patriotic feelings about this country, wearing the red, white, and blue. Even the dogs got in on it. And of course, we want to see more of your celebrations this 4th of July, so keep those photos and videos coming. Just head on over to news3lv.com, search Chime In for an easy way to download them.
All right, fireworks filling the night sky tonight, but not everybody will enjoy the show. How you can calm your four-legged friend during all the big loud booms. Plus, the controversial 4th of July celebrations in our nation's capital. How President Donald Trump did not let it rain on his parade today.